Hi all, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a spot of mending today. I've got a pair of Tees trousers here, which as you can see the buttons come off, so I'm going to be sewing that back on. And I thought it'd make a nice little video and I can show you how you actually go about sewing a button back onto a pair of trousers. Now for this tutorial what you're going to need is a pair of scissors. Obviously you're going to need a button. Now sometimes clothing manufacturers put spare buttons at some point in the garments, so you might find that there's a spare button down by the hem or something, or hidden by the waistband. This pair didn't have a spare button, so I had to find one out of my stash. You'll also obviously need thread. Now what the best colour thread that you need should actually match your buttons, so I'm going to go with the black thread to match the black button. You'll also need a needle, which I've got in my pincushion here. This pincushion was actually made for me by Eldest quite some time ago, and it's my favourite for obvious reasons. But there's my needle in the pincushion and some thread as well. So without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. To start off, what you're going to need to do is make sure that the top of your trousers is completely level and you've got your fly nice and flat. Now what I like to do is I actually do the zip up, because that helps you make sure that this part of the trousers is over where you want to put the button. And then one of the pieces of equipment that I forgot to mention in your list that you'll need is some kind of marking device. And then what you do is you just mark through the buttonhole so that it marks the fabric underneath. And then what I do is I like to do it crossways, so that you know where the button is going to go across in that direction. And then I like to put one in the middle so that you know roughly where your button needs to attach. Undo your fly, and that's the marking that I've got on the lower part of the fabric. And then it's just a case of popping the button on. Now I'm using a 4-hole button in this instance. It doesn't matter what kind of button you can use a 2-hole button, and it also doesn't matter which way up you put it. Obviously you've got the back of the button and the front of the button, but as to the actual direction of the holes that are on the button, it doesn't make any difference. If you've got more than one button that you're sewing on, obviously it's good to have them all going in the same direction, but other than that you can have them on a slant, you can have them horizontal, it doesn't matter. So let's get on to the sewing. Now for this next bit, it doesn't matter if you tie a knot in the end of the thread or if you do it the way that I'm going to do it, which is turn the trousers over to the wrong side of the waistband, put your needle into the fabric, pull it through until you've almost got the end of the thread all the way through. Put your needle back in through the same hole and out, pull, and then you see you've got that little loop. You just put your needle through the loop and then continue to pull, and that puts the knot on the fabric for you. Okay, your next step is to bring the needle through to the front of the fabric, through the bit that you marked as the centre of your buttonhole, like that, and then you just thread the button onto the needle. It doesn't matter which hole you start off with, just pick any of the holes. Now as you're actually sewing the button on, because this is a 4-hole button, what we're going to do is we're going to go down through the hole that's opposite the one that we've just threaded the button on, like that, and then just pull it all the way through to the back. And then picking one of the holes we haven't used yet, I'm going to go for this bottom right hole as you're looking at it. Bring the needle up through the fabric and through that hole. Now it does sometimes take a bit of wiggling to get through from the back of the fabric into the hole that you actually want, so if you want to, you can just push it through the fabric first, like that, and then thread it through the hole that you want, which is that one. Okay, and then just pull it all the way through. And then we're going to go back down through the opposite hole to this one, so you're working diagonally and straight through to the back. Okay, so now you can see that the button is secure on the fabric. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to come back through from the back of the fabric with a needle, but this time we're not going to go through the button. All we want to do is come up just behind the button and pull. And then what we're going to do is make a shank. If we carried on going up and down through the different holes, it would pull the button too tight to the fabric and it would make getting it in and out of the buttonhole difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to make what's called a shank, and to do that grab the thread and we wrap it around the button so that it goes behind the button. And we're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and then just do it again once for luck. Okay, so what that does is it actually keeps a bit of space between your button and that bottom fabric so that the button can wiggle like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the thread up from the back of the needle through one of the holes, doesn't matter which one, like that, and we're going to take it down through the opposite hole, and then we're going to rethread the needle because the thread's come out of it. Just a second. Okay, if you ever find that you're struggling to get your thread through your needle, just chop the edge off, because sometimes what you'll find is the end's frayed and that makes it difficult to get through the eye. So chop that off now and it goes straight in. Right, okay, so back to the button. We've come up through this hole here, so we're going to go back down through that hole there and pull. We're going to come up through the back of the fabric into that hole, which is next to the one we've just done, and then back down through the last remaining hole we haven't used yet. But we're not going to go straight through to the back of the fabric on this one. What we're going to do is we're just going to go through the hole and come out just behind the button like that, and then we're going to wrap the thread once, twice, and then we're going to go through the fabric, not the button, to the back like that. Okay, and now all we've got to do is to cast off, and to do that, put the needle in the back of the fabric, pull it through until you get the loop, and then you just thread your needle back through that loop and pull, and you do that again just to secure that knot. So you do it in exactly the same spot, through the fabric till you get a loop, put your needle through your loop and pull, and that'll make a nice secure knot for you. Okay, with your scissors you just snip off that extra bit of thread like that. Okay, so now your button's attached to your fabric and it's wibbling. It's just a case of popping it through your buttonhole to see if it'll work. And there you have it. That's how you sew a button on. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you get notified next time I upload another video. Thanks ever so much for watching. Whatever you're sewing on, wherever you're sewing with, enjoy your creativity. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.